This is what happened to American Airlines Flight 96. American Airlines Flight 96 was a regularly operated flight from Los Angeles to LaGuardia, which had intermittent stops in Detroit, Michigan and Buffalo, New York. This flight was operated by McDonnell Douglas DC-10-10. The registration of the plane was November 103 Alpha Alpha. At 1:36 p.m., the DC-10's engines roared to life. Interestingly enough, though, the plane departed 46 minutes late after its scheduled departure time because of a passenger and air traffic controller delay. The first leg of the journey was uneventful and landed in Detroit at 6:36 p.m. Not many passengers and cargo was loaded onto the DC-10 at Detroit. The plane had a takeoff weight of about 300,000 pounds. This was well within the limits of the DC-10, keep in mind. The ramp agent who assisted in loading the cargo on the DC-10 had some difficulty. This will be important later in the story. The DC-10 then taxied to the runway and took off at about 7 p.m. Things started to get interesting at 7:25 p.m. The crew of the DC-10 were passing through 11,000 feet, maintaining about 260 knots, when they heard a loud thud. The airplane's engines went to idle, and the plane began to bank right. The rudder pedals were fully deflected in the left position. At first, the captain later said that he lost vision for a second, thinking he had just hit another aircraft. Shortly thereafter, the captain deactivated the autopilot and took over the controls. The crew now had another problem on their hands. The number 2 engine thrust lever was unresponsive. The DC-10 crew had some trouble controlling the elevators, which elevators control the airplane's pitch movements. In addition to that, a constant left input was needed to continue directional control. Finally, the captain declared an emergency. The plane was cleared back to Detroit by radar vectors. Flight attendants were starting to notice some things also. For instance, they reported there was fog in the back of the airplane. To add to the situation, there was a rapid decompression which was so strong it caused the lounge floor. This was back in the 1970s when planes had lounges on them. I mean, some do, like Emirates, but not frequently anymore. To add to the situation, there was a rapid decompression which was so strong it caused the lounge floor to cave into the cargo hold. On their approach back to Detroit, the passengers were briefed in case of a crash landing. The DC-10 was vectored for the ILS for runway 03. The captain maintained about 150 knots and about negative 800 feet per minute on the approach. The airplane landed at 7:44, 19 minutes after the whole ordeal started. The plane landed 1,900 feet down the runway, but they were not out of the woods yet. The airplane started to veer to the right, despite the captain inputting full left aileron. The first officer applied full thrust reversers on the left engine and brought the right engine out of reverse. The airplane eventually came to a safe stop 8,800 feet from the threshold. The captain ordered an emergency evacuation and all of the slides were deployed. All 67 people on board survived. So what did happen to American Airlines Flight 96? First, the flight control problems were caused by the lounge floor caving in and severing multiple engine and flight control lines. The cargo door was found to have separated from the aircraft, damaging the fuselage and the leading edge and surface of the left horizontal stabilizer. The cargo door of the DC-10 was later recovered from a field. The latches on the cargo door were not over the center when the door was closed, causing it to separate from the aircraft. Both of the actuators on the cargo door failed. The actuators did not extend far enough, so the cargo door on the DC-10 could not be safely closed. Once the door latches are closed, an actuation moves the lock pins into place to secure the cargo door. Since the latches were not fully engaged, the lock pins were not locked correctly. The ramp agent from before said the cargo door was difficult to close, and he had to use his knee and put in a lot of force to get that cargo door shut. Also, there would normally be a warning in the cockpit about the cargo door not being fully closed, but for whatever reason, there wasn't. In the end, this could have been a really bad accident. The DC-10 hasn't had the best safety record. There have been many cases of the cargo door blowing out, some even fatal. Because of the quick thinking of the pilots, they were able to land the plane safely. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Disaster Debrief, and I'll catch you all in the next one. I hope you have a nice day. Bye.